inspired me to take it on, but how I came to the project is that this is a collaboration between me and my production company, which is basically me, and Northern California Public Media, which is also known as KRCB out of Santa Rosa. So they asked me to produce a segment for their series called Bay Area Bountiful, which is a television series about environmental issues in the Bay Area, so environmental stories in the Bay Area. They needed a segment about youth environmental leaders. So what inspired me was that I just completed a 2-year program at City College of San Francisco in their sustainability program, and so I went and talked to my professor and said, hey, I need to produce a segment about youth environmental leaders, and she said, literacy for environmental justice. So I went and was able to film with them for a few weeks and followed the story. And well, I mean, what inspires me is like these young people, really like they are just so wonderful and smart and inspiring, and they're doing so much for their community. So I felt pretty honored to be able to tell their story in this short film.
Great characters. Anybody questions?
Do you know the tribal territory of San Francisco?
A little land acknowledgement on the spot.
Okay, so thank you for asking that question.
I didn't give you the cheat code, sorry.
Yeah. So what I learned a few hours ago is that the Spanish colonialists that came gave a name to all of the indigenous peoples of the Bay Area as Costa Noa, or Costa, they were calling them like the people of the coast. And I mean, in terms of San Francisco in and of itself, I've heard a few different terms.
I could help you whittle it down to truth.
And I'm gonna have Canyon here whittle it down to truth. What I've been told is that we're on Ohlone territory. But then what she corrected me earlier this evening is that Ohlone is actually a misnomer, and that it's actually a name for just one village. So would you like to tell us what the actual name for Southeast San Francisco is?
So the language of the land is Ramaytush, and the village site before San Francisco was San Francisco is Yelamu. So when you visit San Francisco, you're visiting Yelamu.
There you have it. So next time you visit the area in which I reside and live, you can give thanks to the Yelamu people who have done wondrous, work for millennia to keep, this territory healthy and prosperous for all of us. Oh, and I have no idea what land I'm standing on right now.
The Nisinan.
Okay, so let's just all kind of take a moment to say thank you to the Nisinan people who have maintained and nurtured and stewarded the land that we're all enjoying right now.
Thanks for that. Any other questions?
So the students, the kids in the film, they're growing the seedlings of like native plants, and are they then rehabilitating areas in that area? So is that part of what's happening, and then do they anticipate this will help with global warming and erosion and things, or what do they think the outcomes will be?
Yeah, so many great questions in that one question.
Well, it's a great film.
So thank you, and it's not long enough. I recognize that it's not long enough. But to answer your question is that the native plants that they're growing in the nursery will eventually end up, they're restoring the Candlestick area. So there's a word for it, like a name for it, called Candlestick Slough or something like that. But they're restoring that whole wetland area, and so the plants that they're growing here in the nursery, some of them will end up in the Candlestick Restoration Project. Others will end up in other parts of Bayview, Hunters Point. So this project in particular, Literacy for Environmental Justice, focuses specifically on the Bayview Hunters Point area because it's been historically, basically there's been so many injustices, both environmentally and socially, that have happened in this neighborhood, and so it's important to give the energy back. And so all of the students that, the young people that are featured in this film all live in the Bayview Hunters Point neighborhood, and they're giving back to their own community that they love and they live in. And I hope that answers your question. Okay, there's another
Great,
question
one more.
here.
Yeah, I was curious, is there any affiliation with the LEJ National Recreation Area Parks Conservancy?
Yeah, so the Candlestick restoration project is, I believe, managed by the national park.
Great.
Yeah, so there is, and so they do have, and they do also do field trips like to Presidio and other parts of San Francisco that are managed by the national park system. There's a question here.
One more question.
Yeah.
Is there any talk of tearing down Candlestick Park?
Oh, it's already torn down. It's gone. Bye. I don't know if I want to celebrate that because then we end up with what is it called, Levi's Stadium, which is so I don't know.
So, is that not private land where Candlestick was, or is it?
I don't have the answer to that question, although I do know that there are luxury apartments going up in that area. And the last thing, I know that we're out of time and stuff, that I just want to say that if any of you feel moved by what you saw in this film, there's ways to get involved, and you can either volunteer, if you're ever in the Bay Area and you want to, come work with some of these students either in the native plant nursery or some other project, they have volunteer opportunities for people to come and, work in the nursery or plant, or, they have kayak trips and barbecues and things like that. And then in addition to that, if you're interested in hosting a house party, you can show my film and you teach other people about the importance of environmental justice in your communities, because it's really, 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 really important to to educate people about environmental justice, because there's been so many environmental injustices in the history of the United States of America. So this is one way to make a difference right now. And then the other thing is that the high school program, in which Alex and Selena were both part of the high school program, is currently unfunded, and so they're looking for funding for the high school program, so you can contribute. If you just go to lejyouth.org and click on Get Involved, you can find all of these opportunities to get involved in literacy for environmental justice, and I encourage you to do so.
LEJyouth.org.
Yeah, and last thing is that I have to leave after right now, but I left my business cards on the table in the back where the soundboard is. So please, if you want to contact me, just grab my card, and I will be happy to answer any questions.
Great. Thanks so much, Kristen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.